Welcome to the January 2019 release preview for YouthCenter. In this release, we're moving over the facility placement requests and other placements from the old interface to the new YouthCenter. We've added some dashboard widgets to support the move, and for administrators, we've added the delete client feature to the new YouthCenter as well. Let's take a look at the facility placement requests to start. The first place that you'll find facility placement requests is under the facility. We can go down to the facility menu option here and hit daily log. And under daily log, under the new events dropdown, you'll see that we've got a placement request. So I can go ahead and click that and add a placement request. If I don't want to do it there, I can go back to the dashboard. And if I have the search clients widget, like I do here on this dashboard, I also have a new client dropdown with a new placement request option right there. Next, I can also do it under an existing client. So if we take a look at Paula, our example client, you'll notice that under the court case summary and this probation violation, I have a new placement request here as well. Last but not least, I can go under the case manager and the search menu option, and I can also go to the new placement request along the top here under the search clients. So let's go ahead and add one. I'll go ahead and click new placement request, and it's going to bring up a add new client menu. Now, you'll notice down in the corner here it says search and next. So when I go ahead and enter in a client name in here, I'll go ahead and add that in real quick. Craig, and making up a name here. And let's give him a birth date of 11/11/2005. These are the required fields. And I'll go ahead and click search and next. If YouthCenter finds an existing client in the system with a name that's similar to Craig or a birth date similar to this, it's going to go ahead and show me a list. If not, it's going to go ahead and bring me to the next screen. You'll notice that it found another client, Crack McDriver here. I don't want that. I know that I'm dealing with Craig Tardif, so I'm just going to go ahead and create new client and request. And it's going to say, yep, you found some similar clients. I have done my double checking. I know I don't need to add them, so I'm going to go ahead. I checked and continue here. Give it a second to load up. Next, it's going to give me a request date. I can add in the requesting agency, and we'll say County Court and the requester's name. And the charges that they were detained on. I can go ahead and pull up a list of charges. And we don't want a felony, so we're just going to find a misdemeanor here, and we're going to say this outside showcase. Select that. If there's any notes I want to enter in on that, I can go ahead and enter them here. I also have an option to select an outcome. So in this one, I'm going to go ahead and do this as a referral. And I'm not going to select authorized or the shift supervisor or any of these other options yet here. Because I'm not going to actually intake them quite yet. We're just going to kind of walk through the process here. If I want and I want to add some specific tags to this, I can go ahead and do that. Tags are done by administrators. We'll walk through that in just a few minutes. And then if we want to, we can go ahead and notify others. Or I can also add to the daily log by selecting the Add to Daily Log button down here. Now I've gone ahead and entered in as much information as I have at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and click Save. Once the information is saved, it's bringing me to the facility placements list for that client. And you can see along the side here under Detention Facility Placements, it's showing me just a history of what the facility placements are. Now, Craig's a new client for us, so he doesn't have any history. But if I had another client that had multiple requests, that would also show up here as well. This will also show up under the dashboard, and we'll go over there, if I have one of the new widgets that are added. Now, I don't have that, and that widget is the recent request for placements. So I'll go ahead and add that. We'll go ahead and edit the widget, and you can see that little gear icon up here. And we're going to go ahead and add widget. And under our widget listing here, we're going to go ahead and find in our placement requests. And we'll go ahead and click on that. And you'll notice that it put recent placement requests in my dashboard over here. Now, I don't want it right here. I'm going to move it over just a little bit, and I want to put it right underneath the search client. So I'm going to drag it and drop it there. Any of the widgets that have a gear icon also have some options, and if I want to, I can go ahead and click on that, and it will open up the options for that listing there. If I want, I can go ahead and give this a custom widget title, but I'm not going to do that. I have the option to show how many rows I want in that widget. We're going to leave ours at the default for 10 here. I can show specific outcomes. So if I want to set up multiple versions of this widget, I can show which ones have been granted, denied, out of county, whatever I want by just turning on and off these checkboxes. I also have the option to show the last X days. It defaults to upcoming, so if I have future requests coming up, this will show that. In the version that we just did, or the example that we just did, we have to look at the past, so we're going to look at the last 7 days here. And which data should be shown? I want to be able to see who the requester was, the client name, and the agency requesting. So I'll go ahead and click Apply, and you'll see that it's right there, and we'll go ahead and click Save Changes. And now we can see our client name, Craig Tardif, the requester is Judge Judy, and there is the request outcome is referral. So we can see the placement request right here, along with going into the case manager itself, or I can go just click on it right here, and it'll take me to the facility placement and show that, or I can click on the list and see a history of that. To administer facility replacements, we have to go into the old interface for YouthCenter, and we need to go under Case Manager, Administration, and there are a few things that we need to set in here to handle that. PAC codes are the first thing that we need to take a look at, and those PAC codes are all of those charges that we listed and we searched through. So that's where you're going to go ahead and administer that. The next place we're going to go under is Tags, and we click on Administration, and we scroll down to the Objects section here, and we've got our tag objects. If I go ahead and click on that, you'll see a listing of all of the tags that are available by administrators in the system here. And I've got a placement request tag here, so let's go ahead and click on that to edit it. And you'll see now we can have this placement request tag if we want it to also be on something else, facility placement request, a facility placement release, a program placement. All we have to do is check on those check boxes, and it will show up for those other objects as well. So you don't have to set up one tag for each different section. You can have individual tags that cross multiples. I'll go ahead and turn those off because I really don't want that. I'll go ahead and cancel. And then last but not least, if we go under Detention and we go under Administration again and scroll down to the bottom here, we've got our request for facility placement. Our outcomes are also listed here. And we can go ahead and go into one of them, and we'll look at our referral that we just used. And we've got our outcome name. We've got a description that we can add in there. We've got an outcome category, which you'll notice that those correspond to the widgets and the checks in there. The display order is just simply a numeric order for what order in the dropdown is that going to show up, whether it's active and whether it's default. Now, I don't want to do anything with this, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel it. So administrators have full control over how the facility placement requests are administered. Next, let's take a look at other placements in YouthCenter. Other placements are for clients that are going into a specific program, say intensive probation or drug rehab or something similar. Other placements is also used for clients in your care that may be in another physical location, say a boarding school or other detention facility. So let's take a look at that. If I go under an existing client, we'll take a look at Paula here. And I go over to the side menu here and go to Other Placements. You can see that she's already in one of the other placements. It's going to show me a listing of the history. But I can go ahead and place her in a new program by clicking on the plus button there. And then it's going to launch the Program Placement Editor. It's going to give me some details here that I need to enter, including the intake date. I can select from a drop-down of programs that I want her to be in. We're going to put her in drug rehab. If there's any notes that I want to add along with that, we'll go ahead and add that as If there is a rate that's associated with this particular program, I'm going to go ahead and add that. We're going to start this on the same day, and it's going to be a daily rate of $25. And this information is used for reporting. Administrators love this because I can then do a report on Paula and the programs or placements that she's been in and get a total of the amount that I've spent putting them into that program. I can then reference that against an invoice that's been provided by the provider to make sure that they do match up. We're not going to release her from the program yet. We're going to have it keep going. Again, I've got tags that I want to add in there. If I want to be able to push that information to others, I can use the share, or I can add to the daily log, which we're going to go ahead and do, and I'll go ahead and click Save. Now I've gone ahead and added her to a program placement, and if I click on other placements, we'll see that listing again, and you'll notice that she's in drug rehabilitation. It's a program placement. She's put in today, and she's currently open, and she's been in it for 1 day. Very similarly, if I want to add a new physical placement, I can go ahead and click on the new physical placement at the top here. What date are we going to go ahead and put her in? And we're not going to actually put her in today. We're going to change that out to a couple days from now. Placement type, we're going to put her into a residential facility. I have the option to select from different care providers. Again, administrators can create those and edit those on the back end. If there's any notes that I want to be able to put in there, and again, I can add in a simple rate here. There is a default rate already set up for our care provider, The Hall, for just under $1,000, but she's getting a special deal, so we're going to call it $250 a day. And we're going to start on the effective date, which is the intake date. She's not going to be released, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. And it gives me all of the details that are associated with it, and I can go back and look at the listing of the other placements, including the residential and the drug rehabilitation. Again, for administrators, if they want to edit any of the options for the other placements, they're going to go into the old interface for YouthCenter, and we'll take a look at the case manager, administration again. Scroll down and find the other placements section here. Care provider, physical placement type, and programs are all administered under this section here. If I go ahead and click on a program, we can see the details that are associated with it. We only have 4 different programs in here. We'll take a look at Tether. We've got a title, a description, a default rate. If it is a facility or it's got a location, we can add all of that information in there. Again, display orders, just the order that it's going to show up in a drop-down list. Is active, and we want to make sure it is active. And if it's the default program, if we enter in a lot of people under Tether, we want that to be the default so we don't have to keep selecting it. We'll go ahead and click cancel and back. The last thing that's getting pushed in this January release is going to be the client delete for administrators. We'll go ahead and take a look at Craig. I'm going to go ahead and click on him here. And if I look at his general profile, and this is for any client, and as long as I have administrator status in the system, and I scroll to the very bottom, you'll notice a delete client button kind of tucked away in the bottom there. I'll go ahead and click on delete client, and you'll notice it's not going to just automatically allow me to delete it. I actually have to type in delete and click yes, delete client. Now I don't want to delete him, so I'm not going to do that. Say no, but if I did, it would go ahead and give me one more confirmation and delete it. We hope you enjoy these new features that are coming out to your site later this January. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us at support@youthcenter.net or support@bizstream.com. Thanks.